This is from ESPN.com. 3 issues the Browns offense must address this offseason. Number one, we all know this. They have to find a solution at quarterback. Collectively, Browns quarterbacks struggled with decision-making. Look at that. 23 interceptions, most in the NFL. Browns are expected to consider options in free agency in the draft for a quarterback room that Barry acknowledged will look much different in 2025. Number 2, rebuild the offensive line. Quarterback situation was unstable all season. Offensive line, typically a strength, regressed. Cleveland struggled to run the ball, 29th in yards per game at 94.6, 22nd in yards before contact, which is 2.43, which means they're getting no push. And number 3, get more dynamic at the skill positions. Jerry Jeudy had a breakout season, recorded his first 1,000-yard season, was named to the Pro Bowl. David Njoku battled multiple injuries, missed 6 games. Has shown he can be a Pro Bowler, but he has to be healthy. I agree with all those. The question I'm wondering with you, the offensive line, how much do they improve simply by going and doing something that they're more used to, that wide zone that you heard both Conklin and Bitonio say they wanted to get back to it. I think that helps. They probably have to do a little bit more than just go back to that system.
No, absolutely. But it does start there. It starts with whatever talent you bring in has to be married to the scheme that you're going to run. And those players like Jack Conklin were brought here to run the wide zone. That's the reason they targeted him specifically. And I think Batonio, especially early in his career, was more scheme agnostic. He could have done a pin pull scheme, just as well as he could do the wide zone stuff, being an athlete, but being kind of being like a brute up front. But if you're going to go back to that, if you're going to go back to running in space and creating these cutback lanes and getting out and really blocking in space, you want to have more athletic people. So if you're going to do that, all of your efforts need to be geared towards that, even with prospects, free agency. Obviously you got who you have in-house and you kind of have to tailor to what you have, but at the same time you're going to keep adding to that because even if you go in the next season and you're looking at Jack Conklin and DeJuan Jones, you better have some capable backups. Both those guys have significant injury histories at this point, and the guys that you get to back up have to be able to run that scheme as well. So I do think it plays a large part as the scheme, but you also have to look at personnel. You got to get fresh legs in there. Zach Zinter last year, we barely got to see him before he went out with injury. He was someone they might want to count on for the future, but they're going to have to keep adding to that. And if you look at this upcoming draft, there's tons of interior talent, and there's several candidates of tackles that are projected to be guards. But I believe, just given where this team is at, I would bring them in and let them fail at tackle before I push them inward, just to see what you have.
The other one, get more dynamic at the skill positions. I couldn't agree more. Jeudy is a guy that can make some plays, but I don't know that you have anybody that defenses go, we can't let him get the ball. You need somebody like that.
Yeah, you can't quit adding that position. You need playmakers. And had we seen more out of Cedric Tillman, maybe we'd feel a little different. But he went out with 6 games to go with a concussion, wasn't able to return. There were flashes while he was in of things that he could become. Because they started Jameis, we got to see what Jeudy could be. So you need that, but you need to keep adding to that. You need another bigger body stretch type guy that can really stress defenses up top. So yeah, you can't stop. You got to keep adding playmakers. Look at this league. Look around. The most successful offenses, the most explosive offenses, have 2 number ones. Like that's the recipe on the outside. Now it's hard to pay both guys at the same time, so they kind of have to be on different spectrums. As you get one, on a rookie contract where you still have a vet who's in that space. But that's the end game here. Is you got to get more playmakers. You got to be able to stretch the field and just threaten defenses on all 3 levels.
And we'll talk a little bit about some of the running backs you like in the Senior Bowl in a minute, but you got to get a running back who can do that as well. You need a running game kind of overhauled.